My name is Jim Thomas, and welcome to the Fitness Management Update. Our topic today is how to be a success at gym sales management. And number one that we want to be mindful of for you folks that are in management, if you're an owner of your facility or running, the sales department yourself, don't simply become a collector of data. Too many sales managers and managers in general, what we see is all they're doing is collecting data and reporting it back. And that's not what you want the manager to be. Let me talk about some of the things that are going to be crucial to this. First of all, you must own the process. Okay, there's a certain process you want to use, which you can listen to some of our other videos and you can grab that information. But you need to own this process. One of the big mistakes that we see that gym managers make, gym owners make, is they'll hire what they think is a salesperson with experience, and they'll let them go do their thing. And you need to have this process in place, kind of going to number 3 here. You need to have this process in place, and you need to own that process. This is the process that must be followed because that process is proven. That process is going to be the best way, the easiest way, the simplest way to take that club visitor and turn them into a new member. So own that process. You must have this process in place. You must be training on this every day. I walked into a club recently and we were doing some role playing and doing some training, and they got the first part right, they got the second part right, 3, 4, and 5 they weren't even doing. And it's no wonder that their sales had dropped. It's no wonder that they started to struggle. Next, to be successful at this, you must be visible with the sales staff. Another one of the common mistakes that we see from sales managers is they get stuck in the office. Not necessarily stuck, they stick themselves in there. And they're in the office, they're not involved in this. You need to be out there making sure these things are done, not thinking it's done, not hoping it's done, not wondering why it's not being done. Be out there, be visible with the staff, be aware of what's being said, know what's going on, be interacting with them, do what's referred to as that third-party touch, that TO, that takeover, get involved in this process. And next, when it comes to that process, literally, micromanage that process. You want to manage this system. This system must be followed. That process must be followed. If you are too dependent on what I might call a wild card salesperson that's kind of doing their own thing, and maybe they are doing a great job for you, what are you going to do when they leave? You're not developing staff. You're not developing people. You're not, creating future leaders of your gym. And then finally, take personal accountability of this. Too many managers, I hear them say, well, yeah, my staff's not doing this, and they're not doing this, and they're unmotivated, and they're not following up, and their closing percentage is down. You know what? That's on you. That's on you as the owner. That's on you as the manager. Don't put that off on your staff. Now, that's not mean to say they don't have their own accountabilities, but we as leaders can't push this off. We have to accept that responsibility. Because if we're following this process properly, we're following fundamentals, we're training every day, we're going to have success. My name is Jim Thomas, and this has been the Fitness Management Update.